Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Open Office Hours. I'm Crystal Hinkle, part of the team here at Syncro. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hey everybody, it's Tatiana. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Brandy. Nice to see everyone.
Yes, it's wonderful to see everyone. And I love that Tatiana's sitting on her front lawn and she's got a beautiful pumpkin patch background. That's where I want to be right now.
I love that.
Yes, so thank you all for joining us. For those of you that are returning guests, thank you so much. We love doing these. Thank you for coming back each week. The questions are always wonderful. For those of you that this is your first open office hours, we welcome you. We love doing these. This is just a really great way to spend an hour. We like to say that because you learn so much. We get a ton of questions, whether that's how-tos, maybe you're just starting using the app, or you've been a payer for a year and you need a deep dive on a certain thing, or, oh my gosh, this brand new thing just came out. Tell me more about it. Whatever questions you have, hop in to Open Office Hours and ask. And the other really great use case, when you hire new employees, for example, this is an awesome way to get them trained up, and they can come in and ask their questions here. So it's kind of like that continued training resource that's super helpful. For today, I'm going to hand it over to Tatiana. She's going to do a little deep dive for us on block hour billing. So thank you, Tatiana.
Of course, I'm super excited to show you guys how to set up your prepaid hours within Synchro today. A lot of times on demos, we get asked kind of the same questions, so we pick up on those patterns, and I love using those deep dives to share with the rest of you guys who join us live for the open office hours, as well as those of you who are watching our YouTube videos as they come out. So if you're from the future and you're watching this video, welcome. As you know, you guys, there are a ton of different types of billing models we support within Synchro. We don't just tell you how you should bill your customers. We work hard to make sure that whatever you think is best for your business easily works for you within our platform. We try to save you hours and hours of bookkeeping time per month. So if you didn't know, just a little bit of a background, we do integrate with 3 different payment processors, which are WorldPay, PayPal, and Stripe. We do integrate with QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, and Xero as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you guys a couple of different things here today. A little while back, our sales team lead, Crystal, did a video on the different types of billing models that we support. You can find it over on our YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you the exact video. The app tile card is going to say billing on it, and so the billing models one right here. So if you are curious, if you're just starting out with Synchro and you're curious all the different ways that you can bill your customers, I would start there. I did also want to mention over on our YouTube channel, if you click over to the playlist section, we do have a Synchro billing training playlist right here. So if you decide on the type of billing model that you want to support, or if you're offering different ones and you want to see step-by-step exactly how to set them up, this would be the training video for you there. So just so you guys know kind of what resources you have available for that. Today specifically, I'm going to be focusing on those of you who choose to offer prepaid hours to your customers. Maybe this is some kind of middle ground for your customers. Instead of you being truly break fix to where you're just billing per hour, where they call you once in a while when everything is on fire, you come to the rescue and you help them out. This is where you can choose if you'd like to sell them chunks of time instead. So maybe you decide to sell 40 hours per month or 10 hours per week. I'll show you how you can choose if you want those hours to roll over month to month or not, and whatever you decide, up to you. So let's go ahead and set this up together. And please remember, this is being recorded, so if you need, you can reference it later. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and start over in the admin section. You do have to make sure that the first step here is that you have your block hours or the prepaid hour tracking feature actually enabled. So under your customer preferences, go ahead and click into the additional settings and just make sure that you have enabled the prepaid hours tracking feature is selected. That would be the first step there. Next, we're going to actually head over to our products and services section, and we're going to build this together. So I'm going to go ahead and click new item in here, and we're going to say open office hours, and we'll say block hours. And we're going to enter some notes into the description. I'm going to set my rate to $250 an hour. And for the category, I'm going to, this is the most important part here, is you want to select prepaid hours right in here. This is vital, and I'll show you why in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and create the product there. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you add different labor category types. What I mean is if you're offering other customers per hour, you need to set these up first. So for here, whether it's labor, on-site labor, remote labor, business labor, residential, doesn't matter. When you're setting up your labor, just make sure you enter all the details in here. But again, the most important part here specific to what we're talking about today is going to be the category. You have to make sure that the labor is selected as the category. I'll also show you guys a lot of times when I'm showing this section, you guys always ask me, hey, how do you get these tabs up here? Because it is useful to kind of filter those through based on the category. So I'll show you real quick. We're going to head back over to the admin section. We're going to scroll down into your inventory and preferences. And I'm going to go ahead and select additional settings first. Make sure you have your show categories box selected, as well as show top level categories selected. So with that being said, as you can see for my category editor, you can add more and more tabs in here, but it's going to be the top level ones that show. So default, deposit, hardware, labor. Obviously you can tell we do a ton of testing, sometimes live on demos, sometimes live on open office hours. So again, mine are going to look a little bit messy, but obviously you can organize, clean yours up how you prefer. But again, all of these top level ones are going to be listed right in here. So that's how you actually enable those. So one thing to keep in mind, and again, we set up our prepaid hours, we set up our labor. Just keep in mind that both of these have a inverse relationship, and I'll show you that, and I'll kind of clarify what I mean when I say that. So let's go ahead and I'll go over to my customer Larry's profile, and I'll show you guys a couple of things here. So we have our prepaid hours set up. We have our labor set up, and over on our customer's profile, you'll notice that for my customer Larry here, I already have 7.7 hours of prepaid hours labor. The beneficial here thing too is that you can also show the prepaid hours to your customer via their own customer portal. So this is where they would log in, they would see not only their invoice balance, but here you go, you can show them the prepaid hour balance as well. So with that being said, the next question would be, how do you actually add prepaid hours? And I'll show you the manual way first, and then I'll show you how to automate all of it to make it even easier. So to add prepaid hours, you need to sell them to your customer. What that means is you need to create an invoice. So from the customer's profile, go ahead and add new, and we're going to go ahead and create an invoice. And I'm going to say, we're going to go ahead and add those open office hours, block hours. We're going to say, we're going to add, let's go ahead and add 10. So when I add this to the invoice here, if we go back to the customer's profile, you'll see that that balance of prepaid hour has now jumped up to 17.75. So that is how you add the prepaid hours to the balance there. Okay, so how do you let the customer use the prepaid hours? That part is super easy as well. Let's go ahead and create a brand new ticket. I'm gonna show you my favorite way to do that right from the customer's profile page. We're gonna go ahead and scroll down, and I'll show you within the asset if you use the magnifying glass, just to create a ticket straight from here. I love doing this because it automatically attaches the asset for you there, so saves your text a couple of clicks. I'm going to go ahead and fill out some details here real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and create the ticket. So once the ticket has been created, again, no matter how it was created, whether it was by an email sent in that automatically generated a ticket, by a form that was filled out, or if you manually created it just like I showed you there, there's 4 different ways to track time. You can use the ticket timer, you can use the communications to leave some notes, say what kind of work that you're doing, update the time, bill for the time, update the status of the ticket. Third way to add time is in the view log. So this would be if you know you're going on site for a couple hours, you don't want to mess with the timer, just enter your notes in here. That's the third way to add time. And then the last way is right when you are wrapping up the ticket. So work is done, customer's happy, but you forgot you worked late last night, so you need to add a couple more hours in there. So again, from your tech's perspective or from your perspective, there is nothing special that you have to do once the ticket has been created, because all they have to do is just say what kind of work that they're doing. And so again, once that work is complete, go ahead and make the invoice from the ticket. And the biggest distinction here is that as you can see, once the ticket actually gets created, all that's going to come through as the charge is all going to be at a $0 rate. And this is because we already billed the customer for those hours up front when I showed you how to add the prepaid hours. So you'll also notice that in the description, it will say applied 0.25 prepaid hours, applied 1 prepaid hour, applied 4, however many, again, that you're actually using the timer for. So let me go back to the customer's profile, and you'll see that the prepaid hours went down. And the reason for that is, again, we just used them on the ticket. So we're back down to 11.5. So hopefully you guys are with me there. Please do, if you have any questions, drop them into our chat box. We are happy to answer them as we go along. So now I'm going to show you guys how to automate everything I just showed you. So we are going to go to our invoices section under your invoice modules and into your recurring invoice. Let's go ahead and create a fresh, clean new one just for this. We're going to go ahead and set up one for our customer, Larry. We're going to say open office hours, block hours. And we're going to bill, I want to bill my customer on a monthly basis. I'm going to bill him on the first of the month. And there's a couple settings that I want to highlight in here. First things first, you want to add the pending ticket charges. Again, that's how time is used. You also can choose if you want to roll those prepaid hours over month to month or not. So make sure you make that selection there. We're going to go ahead and create the schedule here. The last thing that you need to do on this recurring invoice specifically is just add those block hours. So again, we're going to go ahead and open and use those open office block hours. I've decided I want to bill my customer 40 of them per month, add that to the template. And that's it. Those 3 steps on a recurring invoice and all of your work is done for you. Now all you have to do is just resolve the tickets and go and kind of do your day-to-day everything that you need to, whether that's get more customers or offer different services, whatever it might be. 2 last things that I'll show you. Since we're all done with the setup of it, I will show you in our admin section just to consider and just to let you know that this exists here. First things first, in our notification center, if you search for prepay in here, you can choose if you want to be notified that a customer balance has reached 0. And then again, you can choose how you want to be notified about that. Do you want to get an email, SMS, an app, mobile push, webhook, or Teams? So just wanted to let you know that setting exists as well. And then you can also go over to our reports and just search for prepaid hour in there. And this report here will give you a bird's eye view of what's going on with all of your customers' balances. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys.
There is one question related to this. Tatiana, Chris is asking, related to your deep dive, is there a way to offer a discount automatically if the customer purchases prepaid hours?
I think you mean, I guess I would consider prepaid hours already to be at a discounted rate. Do you mean like bundling more? Like
yeah,
a
I think a
discount
little
on top of that?
clarification on that a little bit further, because it is a separate rate, right? Prepaid hours are a separate rate than like your standard labor rate. But if you wanted to give someone a discount on top of that for any other labor, you could do that. You could give them put a contract or something, but it won't apply automatically when they purchase prepaid hours.
Yes, that's correct. Yep. So I was reading over the KB earlier today in preparations for this, and I'll drop this into the chat box for you guys as well. So we do have right at the top of the KB, it says what it doesn't do. There isn't an option to add discounts on prepaid hours. Discounts must be added using the same discount method for all invoice line items. So I'll go ahead and drop that into the chat box. I do think that if you are, I'll share my screen here real quick again, because you can use contracts to specify, and this is kind of a separate conversation, but within the contracts, you can specify per customer pricing. So if you created a new contract, let's go ahead and just do it right in here. We'll say this is going to be for Larry, and we're going to go ahead and just skip all of these and create the contract. What you can do is if you need to specify per customer pricing, when we built the products and services prepaid hours here together, I think I was charging like $200, $250 an hour, something like that per hour. But let's say you negotiate a contract with someone who's a small business, they're just starting out, so you want to offer them a discounted rate of the block hours. Instead of you having to build a separate product called, Larry, open office hours, block hours, you could use a contract to override that. So you can say, for this type of a product, instead of charging $250 to this specific customer, I'm actually going to charge them $100. And if you add that override, anytime you add block hours for this specific customer, it will always charge them this accurate rate. So if you're trying to apply a discount, I would probably do it in that way. I think that would be the easiest. And let me know if you guys have anything else to add to that.
There's just one more question in relation to this. Kelly's asking, if the customer decides to bump up to 45 hours, must the invoice be deleted and recreated, or edit? You just have to edit the invoice, the numbers. You can edit anything.
Yes. Yep.
It looks like that's it as far as block hours go. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Tatiana.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Holy, that was awesome.
Yeah, super good deep dive. And now I've got something I can send to some people when they ask about prepaid hours. So that was great. There are a few questions in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and tackle the few that I see in here. One, Arthur says, we're not an MSP and looking for a tool for internal staff to support our company. You're not alone. We have a ton of internal IT departments. We have storage companies, we have schools, we've got everything. So lots of people are using Synchro for their internal tool currently. So welcome. And then Kevin's asking, we bill in advance for our managed plans. What's the best way to bill prorated for devices that are added in the middle of the month? So unfortunately, there isn't a way to add a proration just natively inside of Synchro without you kind of doing the math of when they're adding it, and you can offer a discount based on that. I will say what some people will do, and I'll just share my screen real quickly and show you, if you are billing, if you're worried about like adding them in the middle of the month, some people will use the RMM package counter, because this is going to count, okay, how many platinum packages, how many gold, how many silver, or however you have these set up. And in the interim, if they have like one device that's being replaced by another, they will have a policy that they put them in until like the first of the month, just like an interim policy, just so it doesn't count that. You could do it that way, but there's not going to be a way to prorate. I will just give a plug to Pax8, because it's a pretty awesome integration in Synchro, and those types of things are the only things that can be prorated automatically. So we integrate with them. You can sell your licenses through the interface. It'll bind to that customer and add as a line item, as well as prorate like Office 365 licenses. So natively in Synchro, no, but if you do use if you use Pax8, that can be integrated. So wanted to share that. And then I also think I saw another one in here. Ari's asking, can we use Synchro for employee time cards or timesheets, or time tracking is only in relation to tickets or billable hours? Welcome. It's good to see you in here. It's been a little bit. So what you can do is you can use a timesheet. So they click, they will have to be a user inside of Synchro, and then they'll appear by their name and go into the time clock, and they can clock in and out. In the report section, you can go down to the employees, and there is going to be a time clock report that you can run in here as well. You can choose which users you want to add in here, so you can absolutely do that here. And then you'd be able to see all of their time clock. Oh, it looks like we don't have any. Let's see, maybe I can run one for this year. You can tell this is not an area where we typically come in and play, but yes, you can see that, you can see their hours in here. So hopefully that helps, and I think that is it for me. Yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to grab a few. Thank you. Arthur was wondering, does your product have a monitoring component like PRTG, network monitoring tool? We are looking to purchase a tool to help our network team. So what I will show you is that just last week we released SNMP. There's a lot going on around SNMP right now. And I don't know, Arthur, I think you're pretty new to Synchro, but if you're not involved in the Facebook group, I would check it out, because there's a lot of discussion going on with SNMP right now. What I can do is I will share my screen, and sorry, you're going to see my slide up here real quick. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to move our faces to over here, and then I'm going to show you SNMP. So this is a way to monitor devices on the network, whether it's a NAS device or a printer, whatever that might be. I'll kind of just dive into this printer because this is the one that, like, for me, like, I'm not a technician, I'm not an MSP. This one is the one that makes most sense in my brain. It's awesome. I love the example of monitoring printers, mostly because it's like a 100% brand new revenue stream if you're not already like monitoring printers and offering to resell ink, toner, and that kind of thing. So I really like showing off the capabilities here. So I'm just going to edit this device. So essentially the way that our SNMP is working right now, and I say right now because, again, if you reference our Facebook group, we love it when we release a feature and then we get some really good feedback that inspires us to, if there's anything that we can do to make things even better for you, we're going to do that. And so with SNMP, I'll show you, like, right now how it works is you've got, you link it to a monitoring device. So this is a device that has the Synchro agent already installed on it. These are friendly names. You can monitor, your black toner level. You can say if the threshold goes below 20%. You even have the granularity to say, I actually only want an alert if this has been below this threshold for 24 hours. Maybe you do want to let the on-site staff have enough time to just replace it on their own. Maybe they have ink already, whatever that might be. You can also use recipes. And so this is, you can create your own library. We're also building ways that you can share your recipes. We already have that built already. You can actually there's a nice little link that you can post and share that, like in our Facebook group and that kind of thing. But it's a way to essentially you can be monitoring all of the different colors in the printer and that sort of thing. And anything that you create an alert for, it's very similar to an actual Synchro device in the way that you can set up automated remediation. So you can still create tickets, notify the user, notify the technician. You can do all of that with SNMP. Now, so PRTG, I believe, includes like a probe tool. So if you're looking for like a network probe, this SNMP is not going to do that today. Not saying that that's not planned, but just wanted to give you as much info as possible on that one. All right, so let me keep kind of rolling through these questions. Chris says, some customers prefer to email and text despite our efforts to have them email our text ticket or email or text tickets into our system directly. We hear this often. Is there a way to forward emails and text into a specific ticket so that I have a record of the conversation? And that I think, yeah, sorry, I hit send before I meant to, but yes, there is a way. So there's a couple things. When you get an email to your personal email address, for example, if that email address is linked to your like technician or your user login, and you forward that straight into your help at or support at into Synchro, it's going to recognize that you are a user, and then it's going to find the forwarded address and it's going to automatically link that to the customer. In addition to that, if you want it to actually append to a ticket that already exists, I might need some help on this, ladies. Isn't it just do you bracket the ticket number in the subject? Is that what you do?
Yeah, so I actually sent in chat, I sent the KB just a little bit ago when I saw that question come in, and
Yeah.
it has the instructions on what to put in the brackets so that it does get linked the proper way.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing that, Brady. I always forget because it has to be specific. It has to be bracket. So yeah, check that out that she posted in the chat because that'll be really helpful. As far as the text, I don't really have, like if they text you, I don't think I have a real strong solution for forwarding in text, but emails, you're good to go on that. Let's see here. Steven says, when you enter a ticket note and add a time entry on it, in the minutes spent section, it creates a ticket time log entry with the note C tech note. But is there a way you can set it to have the actual ticket note? We have an external invoicing system and would be nice to run the tech hour report to import my tech hours, but you have to do so much work to manually copy the note to the log. So this is a really great question. Of course, my go-to is to just really, really encourage you to consider using the invoicing in Synchro. Because like what we're talking about is if I go to reports, I'm assuming you're talking about, is it the this one? I'm assuming you're talking about this, and it says see tech notes or whatever that might be here. I believe that if you go to your admin section, and is this, ladies, if I'm not saying the right thing, please interrupt me, but I'm fairly certain that this is, since as you can see, there's like see tech notes. Some of them say notes, some of them say stuff notes, see tech note. So I'm fairly certain that if you use our field and go to additional settings here, and you can pre-populate what is actually in that line item. So customize text for ticket timer charges. If you just use this little tool tip, you can see how you can specify what's in that log. Go ahead, Brandy.
Yeah, when you finish this, I think I have a different way around this.
Okay.
So
awesome. And so I think that if you customize this, it will clean up this report that you can export. The other thing that I also, you can do an invoice line item export as well. So you could technically set this up like you were invoicing in Synchro, even if you're not, and it would automatically create like invoice line items that you can export. I know I've talked to some folks that do that don't invoice out of Synchro. But yeah, Brandy, go ahead if you have another workaround too.
I do, and this is why I love these because, I can't share my screen.
Hold on.
I love these because I read the question completely different, and so we both have different ways of going around this. So the way that I see this is possibly where you're entering the time, where you say minutes spent, this is actually defaulting to a private note for you. So if I do this and I create a private note, the line item here, when I look at this, it's going to say see tech notes. Yes. Whereas if I create a public note and I say, hi, open office hours, and I want to log time this way and create a public note, when I view the log now, you're going to actually see those notes. So this is where I would do it. If you are using the minutes spent, I would absolutely just use the public note if you want that to be visible. You can come in here. If you want to edit these too, you could clear the charge and you can edit these notes as well. So that's just one other way of doing it. There's a lot of different things you could do, but that's how I read it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, David let us know. David says, no, see tech notes happen when you add the private note, which is, I think, what you were getting at, Brandy. Yep. Thank you, David.
Which is a great way if you want to make notes about a customer and you don't, spoke with Brandy, she was really angry today, and you don't want the customer to see the message, then private notes. And some of you might have that option to default to private notes because there is an option in ticket settings to default to private rather than public. So good job.
Yep. Steven says, OMG, you guys are a lifesaver. I have been trying to do this for a week by default, and we do have private notes. Didn't even think of the public note. Awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you.
There you go.
And thanks ladies for hopping in, because yeah, you're right, we all read that a little bit different, and yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad that we were able to kind of come together. I think I have one more sitting in here that I'll just grab really quick. Arthur, I wanted to let you know, and maybe someone knows in here, but I'm hold on, maybe Brandy knows this. Brandy already knows about the core 2019 sending it.
I kind of know, only because I've gotten this question before, but it seems to be something that, and let me just open up a previous conversation so that I can look at this. Okay, so it looks like you can deploy it to a Windows Server Core. We do support that, but there's certain things that you can't do. So like if you try to launch a Synchro Live session, you'll get a black screen is from what I've heard. So it's not something that we've really tested. If you want like the terminal, you can do things like that. Not full support, but you can deploy the agent.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks, Brandy.
Yeah.
All right, the last one that I have then here is regarding the customer portal. Is there a way to have all my techs approved members of all client customer portals? so that my techs can have an easy view of the client portal and work with clients easier. So I guess there's a couple ways you could do this. So I can tell you maybe like a short workaround, and then the way that you could maybe handle this ongoing. So if I just hop over here, one thing that I'll show you is I'm just going to go to Larry here. The reason that I can see Larry's customer portal, like when we're on a demo with y'all and we just go right into the customer portal, the reason that we can see their portal without logging in is because they don't have any portal users set up. If they have portal users set up, then you have to log in. So I'm just trying to give you a little background as to why this question is being asked, because it makes sense to me. So there's a couple things that you could do. If you just want your technicians to be able to see hey, this is where you would go and your tickets are right here, click here, if you just needed them to be able to help them navigate, you could just create your own business and have a customer portal with some fake tickets and things like that, so that everybody on your team would just be created as contacts and they would be able to navigate what a portal would look like. But I mean, if you actually wanted them to be able to be reading and seeing exactly what the customer is seeing, my understanding is you would actually just probably need to create them as everyone as a contact for every one of your customers, your technicians as a contact, so that they could log into their specific portal. That's kind of what I'm thinking are your two options. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. I've got a few in here. Kevin is asking about proration and if this is being planned for the future. I'm not sure truly if it's on the roadmap or not. We do get this question quite often, so I would recommend posting that too when we do our community track. I don't know if that's like a quality of life thing or something that takes a bit more work, but absolutely worth requesting, and we'll pass that along too. And then David's asking, we'd like to further build out our Synchro use. Does Synchro offer any consulting, or can you recommend someone who does? We don't currently offer that, aside from just having open office hours, which we aren't able to take a look at your particular instance. However, if you want to join our Facebook group, and I'm not sure if we've linked that yet today, but we will. I have noticed recently some people offering some consulting services. They are in no way affiliated with Synchro, so they're not paid from us or anything like that. I do want to preface it with that, but I have had quite a few users find someone in there, and I think there was even a recent post, so make sure you go check out our Facebook group and you can look into that. Chris is asking, for customers who are invoiced hourly, monthly, is there a way to see where they're at for the month in the portal, or otherwise if an invoice hasn't been created yet, so ticket charges month to date, like the report we can generate internally. As far as for prepaid hours, they won't be able to see those without it being created on an invoice, unfortunately, not yet. But really good question, and I think that's a great feature request too. And then I'll just grab one more from Chris. Earlier this week, Crystal referred to an S&P deep dive session next week. How do we sign up for that? So it's actually going to be pushed back a few weeks, and the reason why is because we did just release the feature and we're adding some really awesome stuff to it. So they didn't want to have a deep dive, train you guys on S&P how it is today, and then add all of this cool stuff. They wanted to wait until they added that. So I think it will be pushed back a few weeks. It will be coming. We will reference it in open office hours when we get more information on a date, but you'll also get an email. So don't worry, we'll keep you up to date on that.
Super helpful. Thank you, Brandy. I have a question here from Jeremy, and there's two in a row actually about PAX 8. I think either Crystal or Brandy showed you guys that PAX 8 we do integrate with to help you bill for your licenses that you sell through PAX 8 to your customers on a recurring invoices very easily. So question from Jeremy is, speaking of PAX 8 integration, do you know if there's a way to get their sites to not require login every time we click the PAX 8 in Synchro? It makes a slick integration somewhat less slick, perhaps a question that's best directed to PAX 8. I will definitely pass that along. I'm not aware of a way to just have it be logged in by default. PAX 8 did build an integration from their side, so that might be a request that you can also pass along to them, but I will let our team know that you asked that question as well. And then another one from Ari, he says, along with the PAX 8 integration, if I'm selling a bundle that includes multiple licenses that I can can I bundle them together in Synchro? So his question is, can I make a bundle in Synchro and have it tied to multiple licenses in Pax8 to work with proration, et cetera, et cetera? That's another one that's probably better directed towards Pax8, to be honest. Unfortunately, for our demo account, we don't have a Pax8 integration. We don't sell licenses to anybody since we're just showing you how our software works. I did drop some resources in though. Pax8 created an awesome 9-minute video of how to set up the integration. We did a recent webinar with them, and then I also linked our partners guide. It's 25 pages and it walks you through exactly how to set everything up step by step. So there might be a step in there that helps you bundle things together in the way that you'd like. All right, hopefully that's helpful. And I dropped that into the chat box for you guys as well. Question here from Kevin: are custom fields available for the printer devices? It would be handy to include a toner part number there. So yes, I'm going to share my screen. And again, I think this is the exciting part of having something new is I didn't know if it has it, but I found it and I'm excited to tell you that yes, it is available. So if you go over to or create a new device or you're editing any of them, if you click edit and then you go to manage SNMP asset types, if you click that button into there, again, any type that you select in here, so example printer, you can click manage fields. And then in here, you can include any additional custom field that you'd like. So whether that be, again, you can say, you know, any name, and then you can say what kind of other information you want to include: a text field, checkbox dropdown, web link, text area, which is going to give you more room to type what you need, date field, encrypted through our password vault integration. Pop-up is going to pop up every time you open the asset, or scribbles if you want to scribble something down. So again, you have the ability, once you create that asset field, then you would go back to that specific asset and then be able to actually enter the information into that field, if that makes sense. Hopefully that helps, Kevin. Question from Arthur: how does the patch management work for the agents? Is it possible to show how to find pending updates and deploy Windows updates and third-party updates? So I'll show you the the Windows patch management ones first. If you go over to our reporting section within Synchro, there's a couple things I'll show you in here. First one is the missing patches by KB report. Second one is the vulnerable systems report. So this first one, missing patches by KB, is going to show you which KB is missing across how many assets. If you wanted to, for example, see the list of assets right in here, if you go ahead and open that, you'll be able to see a list of the endpoints just like this. You can see which customer they're related to, any other patterns you might pick up on. If you wanted to select those in bulk, you could run a script against them, change the policy, whatever else you might need. And again, if you wanted to push this specific patch in bulk across all of those assets, you can push this install button right here and it'll take care of that for you across all of the endpoints. And again, if you wanted to do that in bulk, even if you tested these 4, they're safe, good to go, you can go ahead and install selected for all 4 of these across all of these missing endpoints. So that's the first report that I would recommend there. Second one is going to be in your vulnerable systems report. This report is going to be kind of an inverse of that first one. It's instead going to show you which asset is missing how many patches. So these 3 probably need a little bit of attention. They're missing a ton of patches. And again, if you wanted to see even more details, if you click into that asset and then you tab over to the Windows patches section, you'll be able to see all of them. If you needed to, you can say install all, install the selected, and whatever you need to do straight from there. So that is what I would recommend for the Windows patches one. The second one you said for third-party apps, I would recommend for that specifically to do a search within the assets and RMM section. I think that would be the easiest. So if there's a specific app that you need that you don't know if it's installed across all of them, you can say missing application, search for all of those. Once you create the saved asset search, you can click into any one of them and it'll give you a list of those assets that fall under that criteria. You can select all, again, manage, run a script, or if you need to, you can change it to a policy that has that third-party patch enabled on that specific policy. So hopefully that helps as well. Last question I'll grab here is from Chris. Is there a way to see a recurring invoice before it gets sent? There isn't, but it is a very, very highly requested feature. I will pass it along again for you guys. So within our recurring invoices, whoops, not payments, let me go back. Within our recurring invoices, you can, for example, set when you are creating your recurring invoice, you can set the option whether you want it automatically emailed or not. So sometimes what I see users do is instead of billing it on the first, maybe they'll bill it on the last day of the calendar month. They won't automatically email it. They'll have the invoice generate, and then once it pulls in all the pending ticket charges, it creates all the different line items. It'll be sitting in your list of invoices in this section right here. So if we go over to the invoices, I'll show you this one that we built. You'll be able to see all the different line items of everything that's built. You can add any other pending ticket charges if you need. And then from there, once the invoice is generated, you can preview the PDF if you need to. Take a look at what it looks like from the customer's perspective, and then email straight from here. So that is what I would recommend there. And I think that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm going to grab one from Michael. Is there any way I can use my own domain name for customer portal? As of today, no. I'm not saying that's not going to be an option in the future, but today, no. It's highly requested, but we will pass that along. And then I was going to answer one from Chris. For customers with contracts where labor is discounted, is there a way to not show discounted per contract on their invoices? For now, I manually remove this on ticket charges for each ticket. I have a customer who brought it up that he does not like to be reminded constantly that he receives a discount. Right now, it's a manual thing. This came up, I believe this came up either last week or the week before. I did bring this up to our technical support manager and confirmed that you do have to manually remove that. So we'll pass that along as well. That seems like a pretty solid quality of life improvement. Also, I think maybe Tatiana put that into the chat box, our Facebook group. This is one of those quality of life improvements that it's that community driven track requests. I bet you're not the only one that's requesting this. Thank you for putting that in there. I guarantee that a lot of people would want this. So I would definitely post that. It'll probably get upvoted. So definitely do that.
And real quick, I just added a link in the chat box too. You can redirect the customer portal to a custom URL, and that would eliminate the .syncromsp.com in the name too. So I sent that in, but you would have to have a custom URL. But you'll be able to do that there. And then Nathan is asking on saved asset searches, is it possible to save the selected columns as well? I'm truly not 100% sure here what you're referring to. So I just want to make sure you have your different saved asset searches in here, of course. And if I were to select on a particular saved asset search, so everyone with the base package, I'm not sure if you're referring to these different columns. These will just, whatever you select in here is what the default will be each time. So it's not going to be saved per saved asset search, which I think is what you're asking, unless you guys read this a different way, but we can gladly pass that along.
Awesome. I have a question here from Daryl. He says, just a recommendation on the branded customer portal link. The MSP could use a DNS Cname record to at least give an external address on their own MSP domain that would redirect to their actual Synchro URL. So I do hear that request pretty often is to have the custom domain. So I will make sure I'm going to pass that along to our team again for you.
Awesome. Thank you. And Daryl, your other question, I think we might need to post that for our technical support team. So we'll do that because I don't know if I have an answer for you on that one. I just wanted to let you know we won't ignore it. What I wanted to just show everyone really quickly, because I think this is cool. I mean, I just briefly mentioned the community driven development track. So for those of you that joined the What's New in Synchro earlier this week, we do those about every 6 weeks. It took me a full 35 minutes to go through all of the new features. There was 21 new features in like I said, a 6 weeks period, which is kind of a ridiculous pace. But 6 of those were the community driven track features. And one thing that I will say is even earlier, one that didn't get mentioned in that webinar was, we added the ability to add additional emails for contacts and customers. That was a community-driven track feature. It was from Carl Howell, and we blast the name. We say thank you so much. It just means a lot to us that you're taking the time. You love the product enough to say, hey, I really love this, but I also would really like this as well. So we do hear you. And so just so, for example, when I really encourage you to submit those quality of life features, I'm being very serious. We're releasing stuff so fast. And so one of the things that we just did, this was a request from Carl, and I've heard it before. And so it was great to see this done. So I'm just going to show you on a contact level, for example. What happens is a lot of times their email address might it be their work email address or something like that. And then they also email from their Gmail or, whatever that might be. You can now add additional tickets or additional emails so that the system will recognize that person and not create a new customer for them. So this was a huge, we get this request all the time, definitely a quality of life improvement, and it got implemented, and we're just going to continue to do that. So I just wanted to show how cool that is. Request done. And that's happened 6 other times in the last 6 weeks, which is quite incredible in my opinion. So I definitely encourage you to keep doing that and keep getting involved in the community. It means a ton to us. So just encouraging that.
And also just to add a plug to that, sometimes you might feel like, oh, a lot of people are submitting feature requests. They're not going to look at mine. We had over 900 comments. It doesn't mean 900 requests, so don't let that scare you. It was people requesting and other people saying like, yes, I would love this, or yes, that and this added, or things like that. And honestly, that is the best thread to be on, because all of the right people read every single comment in that post.
Awesome. Daryl, I just wanted to say again for this question, I don't know if we'll get an answer to you, but I did post it in our tech support channel to see if we can get a response. So just letting you know about that one.
Perfect. And then Arthur's asking, is there a way to add products we have into inventory within Synchro so we know what stock we have on hand? Absolutely. So let me just share my screen with you here. We have a full inventory system inside of Synchro. You're also able to import products and services if you need to, but you can have different categories. So it doesn't just have to be hardware. It can be different labor rates, you name it. But you can absolutely maintain stock. So you can see, okay, I have 408 left. I have 6 left. This one is on a purchase order. And you can put, of course, the physical location, things like that inside too. Product photos.
I got a quick response from our support team. Daryl's question was, do you know how we can best monitor baseboard management systems on a server? For example, Dell, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm going to say IDRAC or HPILO through Synchro. Would this be used for SNMP? And I did get our support a response to give a response to say yes, you would be able to leverage SNMP monitoring for this. So again, just keep an eye out on your inbox for the invite to that SNMP deep dive, and I'm sure you'll be able to ask a lot of your SNMP related questions from people who literally built it within our software. So that's what I'd recommend there.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. Okay, Chris, is there a way to show a required deposit on an estimate? So I'm just going to share my screen here. I'm going to go into an estimate. Hopefully I'm sharing the right screen. And so from here, there's a couple ways I think you could do this. So we have this estimate message now, and you can enable that in your estimate settings. I believe you have to, I think you have to enable it and add it to your template for it to actually show. But from here, this is where like you could say 50% deposit required upon, whatever processing. There's also in the PDF and email templates for estimates, there's a disclaimer that you could add that in the estimate disclaimer. Now, to actually receive a deposit, you either have to, like, once you process this, that like it's approved, you either have to create this as, I believe, yes, you either have to create this as a ticket or create it, or convert it to an invoice to be able to receive the deposit on it. So you can't necessarily take a deposit on an estimate, right? It has to be processed to either a ticket or an invoice. So I would either use the estimate message or the disclaimer to let your customers know that you do require a certain amount deposit.
Perfect. Thank you, Crystal. Kevin says it would be nice if the physical location would be a drop-down menu with an option for other and add a text field. So he's referring to the products and services section. So great, great feedback, and we'll gladly pass that along. And then Daryl's asking, can you remind me if there's a clear difference between deleting an alert and clearing one? So I'm just going to share my screen real quickly. And the differences are going to be muting or clearing. So I want to make sure that we cover that. So the two different things, if I clear this alert, if it happens again, it's going to pop back up. Whereas if I mute this alert, I can choose, okay, I want to mute this for 2 weeks or a month or forever, and I'm going to do it on all assets. So, or one specific asset, it's completely up to you. But you have the option to mute or clear. But again, if you just clear it, it could absolutely pop up again. Wow.
Just like that.
Let's see. Oh wait, but there are two screens where one says delete and one says clear.
Where is the delete? Because even when I went to bulk actions, I just had.
But maybe there's no difference between delete and clearing and alert. Those I'm assuming are one-time clears. Let me find it real quick. Maybe the delete
is in the user. Possibly.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out together.
Yeah. Let's search for we're searching for delete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wonder if,
Alerts.
Alert.
Oh, Jeremy says if you mute all for a specific alert, is that across all clients or just that one? You can choose if you want it to mute for one specific device or for all devices. So you can choose there.
I think I found the delete one. If you actually click into the alert, into the details,
Sorry, I was
just in the top one, and then just click the details over in the right-hand column.
Yeah. What?
Or no, to the left of it a little bit. Yep. And then there's a delete button there.
Yeah.
I would think delete would just kind of like clear, right?
No. Daryl says, Tatiana beat me to it. I think it might be, we can double check. I think it might be just a verbiage. I think it might be doing the same thing.
I feel like if you delete this in the same alert pops up again, it's going to show up again, but that's me speculating. So we will find out for you.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's going to do the same thing. I think clear and delete. I think it's probably just a UI where we need to look at if we need to be a little bit more consistent. That is what I'm assuming.
Good feedback.
Garrett, thank you for saving us. So delete, clear, and close are all the same thing.
There we go.
So there's our answer. We've got a hero for the day. Every day.
I think so just so you guys know, this is kind of fun. We invite, some of our team members to watch open office hours every week so that they can kind of hear the questions that are being asked. And it's nice that when we're stumbling, we get little messages like reminding us, oh, hey, it's that. So that's really, really helpful there. Awesome. I'm trying to clear out everything that had to do with that one.
Garrett or Daryl says, thank you, ladies, and Garrett.
Yeah, and Garrett. Yes. Okay. What else is in here? Sorry, I'm just trying to go through and separate.
I can grab this web root one. Craig says, I have two separate web root accounts under one primary console. Can I just move one of my accounts over to Synchro? One is my direct account, quote unquote the one I want to move with Webroot, and the other one is my account with a different provider. So I will drop our KB for that into the chat box. If you did want to migrate your Webroot account, we make it really easy for you. Our technical support team is phenomenal, and the steps laid out in the KB I just dropped into the chat box will walk you through. Basically, once you complete a couple of different other steps first, you would reach out to, I think it's migrations-webroot@synchro.com. And again, all of that is going to be in the chat box for you guys, and then they would be able to answer any additional questions on kind of account ownership or different things like that. But again, that link is in the chat box. I also wanted to mention, I don't know if I did this previously, but we started posting everything that we include in our chat box into the description when we upload to YouTube. So for those of you guys, again, that are watching in the future, all of the links are now going to be available that we are providing for you live as well.
Awesome. Okay, we're getting a flow in here and we've got 4 minutes left. So I'm going to try to hop through a couple of these. Steven says, just connected Syncro to QBO. I don't see any balances on the customer screen. Do I have to do my billing in Syncro for the balance to appear? So the integration is sync from Syncro to QuickBooks Online. So yes, the idea is you are doing your invoicing in Syncro and it's syncing to QuickBooks Online. The one thing with online, the online version is payments do sync backwards. So if you were for any reason taking payments in online, it will sync that back to Syncro. But yes, it's a one-way sync from Syncro to QuickBooks. Jeremy says, so there's no way to mute a specific alert, hard drive failure, for instance, for just one client if a customer doesn't include a certain support level for hardware. So Jeremy, I think if that was the case, it gives you the option to like mute like a hard drive failure for one asset or like all assets. So in this case, if you needed to just clear, like not have that be something that's monitored, you could just create them as like a new policy. Like you could clone the policy and just remove that alert for that customer. You could also, in automated remediation, customer is in the drop down. So you could say for this customer, clear the alert. So you could do it either way. Let's see. Oh, Daryl, you converted to a paid Syncro account. Yay, welcome to Syncro. But Bitdefender is still on a trial. So when you upgraded, it did give you the option to upgrade your Bitdefender account at the same time. But I believe if you just go back to your Bitdefender app card, you can upgrade there. And yes, the billing would then go through Syncro. You'd be billed by Syncro every month.
I'm just chatting some answers to people to.
Cool. I just flew through some of that.
Question from Shane, can you integrate two connect price control domains with Syncro? Say one is using the Access subscription and the other is support. I don't believe so, but I'm trying to confirm that with our team. As far as I know, when you are setting up in the App Center, you have the ability in here to, you have to enter the, the instance ID, and there's only room for one of them. So due to that, I'm assuming you can only set up one, but if I hear otherwise, I will let you know. It looks like we did get a response. It looks like the true answer is no, our native integration only supports the one. You might be able to script a secondary account, however. So that might be another one to ask your Syncro MSP peers in our Facebook group that we shared with you guys previously, because if you're setting it up, chances are there's somebody that already has it set up. And as far as I know, the Syncro community is amazing. Everybody's willing to help each other out. So go ahead and ask. I think that would be a good spot for that.
If anyone can make it happen, someone in that group can make it happen. I see things happen all the time that I have just told someone it wasn't possible. So I always send people there.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, well, here we are, the end of open office hours. Like we mentioned, this has been recorded. It'll get posted probably later today on our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we love doing this. Come back every week. We really, really enjoy and appreciate all of the awesome questions. Happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.